The Baltimore Ravens, two-time Super Bowl champions. They draft Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer, consistently in the AFC race for being one of the best teams, historically known for being one of the best-run franchises. Called Shedeur Sanders in his camp, and essentially was left on red. They said, we don't want to go to Baltimore. Instead, they chose. It was like, you know what? We'll go to the Cleveland Browns. Paige, Dimakos, this is simple. Was this a good decision or a bad decision?
I'm looking right at you, Prime. Because I know, here's the thing. This was Adam Schefter reported this on Sunday, and Schefter does not report things that are not true.
Yeah, break down the details of it.
Yeah, so Schefter comes out on Sunday during the pre-game, and you have to give you the context, right? Cincinnati, or Cleveland is playing Baltimore, right?
Yep.
So the strategy behind taking this news and putting it out right beforehand felt a little malicious. Right? Felt like there was somebody who wanted to have this news out for a reason, right? And it's probably because they were feeling some type of way for being left on red, right?
Yep.
You said it, and I think that's where I'm going to pick it up from. And so this news comes out, and this was shocking to me because, one, you don't tell the Baltimore Ravens, no thanks. I'm sorry. Nobody's better than that. You're not better than the Baltimore Ravens. And the situation that they've put themselves in now, this went from me being really angry about what the NFL did to now me being really upset with the Sanders camp and whoever's calling the shots, but we all know who's calling the shots. Right. It's Prime. And I have a really tough time with him or anybody involved in that camp telling his son or Shedeur making a decision and thinking that it's better for him to be in Cleveland with Dillon Gabriel and Joe Flacco, because at this point, Dillon Gabriel had been drafted. Already been drafted.
Joe Flacco was already there. Kenny Pickett was already there.
Correct. And Deshaun Watson is still there.
Had been there.
Correct. Yes, this is not the whole premise of this report was that he wanted to have the opportunity to be a starter. And my problem with that is, we have discussed on other episodes and on other podcasts how the Green Bay Packers do things really well.
Yep.
Well, the other organization that does things really well is the Baltimore Ravens. And this probably would have been an absolute amazing opportunity for Shedeur to learn, to grow, to be behind somebody like Lamar Jackson. I know fundamentally they don't do the same things, but look at what the Baltimore Ravens did. They went from Joe Flacco, to Lamar Jackson. Fundamentally, they changed everything that they do on offense to fit what Lamar is and who Lamar is. There is nobody better suited to get the best out of your kid than John Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens. What were you thinking, Prime? Cleveland? Are we serious? You want to talk about going from the absolute best to the absolute worst? You made the worst decision possible. Cleveland is a dumpster fire for quarterbacks. That was your decision? I hope you liking your decision. I hope you're sitting back thinking, you know what, it's really fun to be on a Cleveland Browns team. Are you freaking kidding me? This is so, I'm so pissed about this because now it's like giving everybody an excuse for the Shedeur thing. And that's still what happened. I still want to know what actually happened because the slide in the draft still makes no sense. But this makes it worse because if you did something like tell the Baltimore Ravens no, then I understand why the NFL was pissed because you don't do that shit. You're not better than the Baltimore Ravens. You're not. And Shedeur's not good enough to tell the Baltimore Ravens no. That's ridiculous. And that's the point I sit at is you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow, and there's a reason that's the saying. You reap what you sow, and what you sowed is the Cleveland Browns. Enjoy. Yeah. Your son may never see the light of day because you chose that franchise over the Baltimore Ravens. That's ridiculous. Makes no sense.
You said a lot, and I agree with everything you said, right? And you kind of want to just put things into perspective, right? You were supposed to be a first-round pick.
Yep.
Some people talking about you were the number 1 overall.
Yep.
So now you're on this slide, right?
Yep.
First round. To second round, to third round, to fourth round, to now you have to understand you're not going anywhere and be a starter.
No,
right? Like there is
you're a
nowhere.
fifth rounder now.
Thank you. So you have to think, no matter where I go, I'm a backup quarterback. And so you put yourself in perspective. And this is the classic case of immediate satisfaction versus playing the long game, right? And what you wanted was immediate satisfaction to say I'm a starter. Well, listen, what is the quality in saying that I'm a starter, but I'm on a shitty franchise?
Yeah.
There is nothing in there that helps your career, right? And so you look at the Baltimore Ravens. Now, do I sit down behind Lamar Jackson? And truth of the matter is, Lamar Jackson's going to be there another 7 to 10 years, right?
Yeah.
That's not the point. The point is you're going to be in a winning franchise. You're going to understand what winning looks like. You're going to be around other talented damn players like Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers. You're going to be behind a good offensive line because the Baltimore Ravens always take care of the trenches. And then you're going to play deep into the playoffs. You're going to understand potentially what is it like to be a part of Super Bowl week, AFC championship games, all of these different things.
Understand what it means to win.
To be a winner. And so when you get traded or if they don't pick you up as a free, sign you after your rookie contract, you can go make a well-educated decision. And I go to the Dallas Cowboys and what we just seen from Michael Parsons, right? And Michael Parsons, quote, said a lot. He said, when I'm here, I don't have to motivate guys to run to the football. So and he said there's a difference between a winning franchise and a franchise that's just existing, right? A franchise that's trying to sell tickets and a franchise that wants to win championships. It was 4 or 5 years ago where Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan were on a podcast, and they said, and Kyle Shanahan said this. He said, my father told me that every year, realistically, there's only 5 franchises that's actually trying to win Super Bowls. Let that sink in. So there are 27 other franchises that are simply bullshitting. The Cleveland Browns are one of those franchises that are always
They've been bullshitting.
Then guess what you chose, Paige Dimakos? You chose the franchise that other franchises send their players when they want their dreams to die. Odell Beckham, what did the Maurer family do? They sent them to Cleveland for the dreams to die. Baker Mayfield went there. His career was completely horrible, and he had to revitalize himself with the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Los Angeles Rams.
Watson.
Amari Cooper was sent where? To the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson can't get right with the Cleveland Browns, so why would you put yourself in that position? It's the classic case of instant satisfaction versus playing the long-term game. And in that moment, your pride was hurt. Because you were supposed to go right there with Cam Ward, right? And you said, you know what, I'm going to show them. But you allowed the wrong motivation to make your decision. I always say this, right? And I always talk about this even with you, right? Making the emotional decisions, having emotional intelligence. That was unintelligent when you applied the emotion to it. So I'm sitting there and I say, that's why this was a wrong decision by I'm going to just say, I'm not going to say Shedeur Sanders.
No, it's
I'm going to say the Sanders camp. Whoever made that decision,
and we
it
all
was
know
a wrong
who it
decision.
Is. We all know who it is, and here is why when we had a very spirited conversation about what went wrong, after the draft. And we talked about this. I pointed to the not having an agent being a big problem. This is why it's a big problem. This is why it's a big problem. Because somebody in that room needed to be logical and not emotional. And that's what your agent is there to do. Prime is a dad. He's a father. It's okay to be emotional about your son. The problem is you are also trying to not be emotional and make the best decisions, and you can't do both.
Not him.
That's why.
None.
Him. Zero. You are never going to be unbiased about your kids. It's never going to happen. So that is not what you need to do. You need somebody on the outside who's going to make the best decisions for your child in the moment, and in the moment, you chose the absolute worst thing. This is unimaginable. It's unimaginable to me to think that you told the Baltimore Ravens no. You had every opportunity. You know what would have happened? He would have learned how to win. He would have learned how to be a professional. He would have been behind one of the best, not only best quarterbacks, but best black quarterbacks in the league. There are so many things that would have gone right for Shedeur to be in that Baltimore market. This is a perfect situation for him. He could have been around John Harbaugh, and instead, Prime chose to make it about himself. That's it. This is ego getting in the way. Pride, ego, what you said, emotions, you let emotions get in the way. And this is why there's a system and a system that works. You need an agent. You need a process. Nobody's above it. No matter who you are, no matter who your dad is, somebody needed to be involved in that room to tell them the truth. And nobody did. Nobody was there because at the end of the day, the pride was hurt. And I feel bad for Shedeur because this was not the right thing for him. Think about the difference of being in Baltimore versus Cleveland, Keith. It's night and day. Night and day. And this is just, it's unfortunate because now I'm sitting here going, are we ever really going to see the best version of Shedeur and what could have been? How can we not sit here? I'm absolutely thinking about that. And now, you think the rest of the league not feeling some type of way? You told the Baltimore Ravens no? You left the Baltimore Ravens on red? Well, now you got now the attitude problem and all that shenanigans, now you just threw gasoline on the fire for that entire storyline, one that you and I never believed. And now it's probably not true about Shedeur, but whoever decided, I think prime in this situation, to tell the Baltimore Ravens no, you just put an X on the back of him. This is horrible. And I just, it's unfortunate because I never really feel like we're going to ever get to see Shedeur play out what he could have been, because this is a black mark and it's not going to go away. It's not. It's the Baltimore fucking Ravens. You don't tell them no. You don't. It was a bad decision and there's no way around it.
Yep. And it's a lot to it. And one of those situations why we said the Cleveland Browns was a potential bad situation is because they have 2 first-round picks next year, right? And
they sure do.
Yeah, and then we pivot to the quarterback situation. Yeah. And the only win for him is that these quarterbacks are not playing well in college football. And I'm going to make this statement, right? I walked into this football season with 5 quarterbacks that I believe could have went in the first round. Right now, I have 1. And that's a major issue. And I want to talk about college football as a whole. Ms. Dimakos, let's talk about this. What do we think the issue is with college football, and why are we seeing lackluster quarterback play from all of these quarterbacks?
How much time you got? How much time you got? Because college football got a lot of problems.
Yep.
College football got a lot of problems. NIL, transfer portal, how the structure of the calendar is, the scheduling. Where do we start, right? Where do we start? And I think the big part that we need to start with is probably what is going on in the transfer portal and the expectation of these guys who are kids, young people, being able to handle what the NFL does at their level, and they can't. They can't. They cannot switch rosters. They cannot learn new offenses. They cannot change scheme. This isn't free agency, and it ain't working. It's not working. And there's some teams that are going against the grain on this, but then there's some teams that are not. And the transfer portal, and I get it. Listen, I'm not anti the transfer portal as a whole, but what we have right now is not good. It's not working. And there's something needs to change. And I know you know this inside and out. For me, the NFL is the NFL for a reason. And there's a difference between college and the NFL for a reason. And I feel like college is trying to be the NFL, and that's not what you should do. You should be college, and you're losing what makes college special. And I'm not telling you can't pay players. I've always been pro paying the players. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the problems that are happening right now in front of us, the scheduling, NIL, transfer portal, all the details around it. 2 coaches getting fired 3 weeks into the football season.
Yep.
What the hell do we do? Like, what are we doing? It feels like we're acting like irrational owners, and that was the one thing that that you were saving college.
That they didn't have.
And it doesn't make any sense to me, because now you're talking about buyouts for coaches when you're all competing and trying to spend every dollar in a smart way. This doesn't make any sense to me, Keith, and I think it starts with the transfer portal.
Yeah, no, it definitely starts with the transfer portal. And I'll say this, college football, being a college football coach, being a college football general manager, being a college football lead personnel person has become the most difficult job in all of sports, period, because you're constantly trying to hit a goal that is constantly moving, right?
Yeah.
And we talk about why is there a slow start to the quarterbacks? It's because all of these guys have brand new players. When we translate this to the NFL, and when we have the NFL and they have slow starts, right? We immediately point to the fact that, it's because these guys don't play in the preseason. They took 1 preseason game a week.
Yeah, no chemistry.
Training camp is not the same. Well, now we're starting to see the same thing in college football.
Yeah, no spring
right?
game. They took spring game out.
They took the spring game out because of the transfer portal, because college coaches were worried that other college coaches would watch their film and then pluck their players. Yeah. So there's not even a true spring game anymore. So how do these guys get the cohesiveness that you have? And there's no speed like game speed. We can practice all we want, but until we get out there and get live reps, we're going to have an issue. So I say to the NCAA, right, it's time to fix it. You can't go all in and then want to be all out and say, you know what, we're going to leave it as the Wild Wild West, because you know what you're hurting? You're hurting the product, and then you're hurting the fans. If you're a college football fan, this is the first time probably in history that you're walking into week 1 and you have no idea who's on your team because everybody has swapped out, right? You have some of these guys that went from group of 5 that are now playing Power 5.
Yep.
Some guys that's Power 5 not playing Group of 5.
Yeah.
You got freshmen injected into this situation.
Yeah, for sure.
You got one guy coming from. It's so many different situations and moving pieces, and we're seeing that it's starting to affect the product on the field, and it's going to ultimately affect these young men because they're making money decisions when you should be factoring other things too. And it's not solely their fault; it's the fault of the NCAA. They should take corral of this, take responsibility of it, because y'all wanted to be responsible for it at the very beginning. Now, when people call you out and say that y'all were wrong from the very beginning, you want to be completely hands off. To me, that was a coward move, and you shouldn't do that.
The other part that there needs to be some responsibilities for these parents. The parents of these kids that are helping you know, at the end of the day, there are a lot. These are kids we're talking about. 16, 17-year-old kids making $1 million decisions.
Yeah.
And this is on the onus to educate yourselves, to figure out what's going wrong, and figure out putting the right people around you to help you make the best decisions. Because the big problem that you and I talked about off the air that I want to talk about now is you're losing that part that you talked about where fans know these guys. Well, you know what that removes for these guys? Most of these players are not going to the NFL. You know what you're removing? Your opportunity to make money after you're done playing football, for your name and your legacy to mean something in an environment that I know, because I went to school in Lincoln, Nebraska. People that doesn't matter who the player is, people know those guys. They come back, they get jobs. Eric Crouch never played well in the NFL. He has an entire multi-million-dollar business because his name means something in the state of Nebraska. You are removing the opportunity for your kid to have a legacy long-term, because guess what? You're probably not going to the league. That's the reality. So you are removing such a big part of what makes college football special. All these individual markets, these small towns where people care, they support you because you played football there. Well, they're not going to know who the hell you are if you keep changing where you are. If you stay in an environment for 1 year, nobody's going to know your name. And I want that to sink in for college football players. Nobody's going to know your name. Because that's a large part of the reason why people are doing this. You know what matters in branding? People knowing who the hell you are. You want to make money in NIL? People got to know who the hell you are. You're removing an opportunity to make money. You're literally thinking you're making an instantaneous gratification conversation, and this is what it is. I want to make more money right now. Most of the time, building your brand around one school, having an opportunity to build a brand in one environment, is going to lead to more money, not only in the short term, but in the long term. And these kids are all making bad decisions because they don't have the right people around them. So I'm challenging the parents. Parents, step up, be better, educate yourselves. The internet gives you unlimited amount of information. There are so many people to reach out to help, and do not rely on the NCAA. I know he called out the NCAA, and I wish I could trust them, but I don't.
You can't.
They've proven time and time again that they're going to be hands-off. They want to prove a point. They did not want to pay players. And since that moment, they have stepped back and go, well, this is what y'all wanted.
This is y'all problem.
This is y'all's problem.
That's exactly what
This is exactly what they're doing. And until somebody else decides to help, it's got to be, at the end of the day, you're a parent. You should care more about your kid than anybody else. And it's on you to figure it out. Because these kids are 16 years old. Who the hell at 16 knows what they're doing? Nobody. Giving them millions of dollars, you and I have talked about it. We would be jackasses if we were given millions of dollars when we were 18 years old. You got to help these kids, man. You have to. And do not rely on the NCAA. It's a fake organization.
Yep. The solution is real simple. Keith Sanchez for commissioner of college football.
Keith Sanchez for commissioner.
I'm going to go ahead and throw my name.
Draft club for the draft club to take over for the NCAA. Goodbye, NCAA. Abolish the NCAA and let us run the whole damn thing.
Yep. We have some fun, right? We do a list, and we're going to start doing our top 5 list. Yeah.
Yes.
And I gave it to you, and I'm going to critique the list. So I want you to go ahead. We're doing top 5 college football environments.
Okay.
All I can say is it better be a good one.
It is a good one. And it was hard to narrow it down. There were a lot of lists that I looked at. There were a lot of these environments that I've been to myself. And there's a couple that I've heard through the grapevine are pretty good. One that happens to be in Baton Rouge. So shout out to LSU, because I'm going to start right there.
Okay.
LSU and Tiger Stadium. I'm not going in any order. This is 5. Okay, 5.
They're number 5?
Yeah, no. I'm not going in any order. I'm just telling you 5.
Okay.
5 teams that I put in an environment. Penn State whiteout at night. Okay. LSU at night. South Carolina, Ohio State, and Michigan. Those are my 5 environments. The best environments in college football. My honorable mention is Tennessee, who I think has an unbelievable environment. The name that everybody had in their list that I refuse to put in my list is Texas A&M, and I ain't putting them in there.
Yeah, I'm out on that one too.
And I know it's loud, and I don't care. It's weird, and that's all I'm going to leave it at. It's a weird environment, but I think South Carolina on my list is the most underrated environment, and I think the most overrated is probably Ohio State, but it's top tier. It's top tier. So that's my 5.
Okay, I have one I want to throw in.
Okay.
The big house, Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan.
Did you think about
that?
Oh, they made
they're
the
in
list.
this.
Okay, so Ohio State,
Michigan, Penn State, LSU,
Big Ten.
and what did I miss? Penn State, LSU, South Carolina, Ohio State, and Michigan. Those are my 5.
Okay, I'm gonna rank those, and obviously I'm gonna go LSU.
Yeah,
one, right?
obviously.
And no bias to that, right?
No, that's obviously a bias. It's
No
obviously.
bias
I
to
will
that.
critique that for myself because I will be going to an LSU game, and I have a feeling I'll probably think they're number 1.
Yeah, you will. Then I will go Penn State whiteout,
Yeah,
number
sick.
2. And I haven't
Crazy.
been, but it seems like a crazy.
The best environment I've been to personally.
was Penn State
Yeah,
whiteout.
by far.
Okay, then I probably go. I'm gonna go Michigan, then Ohio State, and then I'll go South Carolina. Yeah,
Okay.
because they have a rowdy environment. One that didn't make the list, which I want to get your opinion on the whole situation.
Okay.
Clemson has a famous entrance, right, where they drive the buses from one side of the stadium to the. Well, I know how you feel about it. from one side of the stadium to the other, and then they run down the hill, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like it looks like a torn ACL waiting to happen.
Yeah,
is what I
it makes
look
me
at.
nervous every
It
time
makes
I
me
watch it.
nervous. I don't get it. I think it's way overhyped. And sorry, there's one Death Valley, and that's in Baton Rouge.
Okay, I like that. That might be the best thing you ever said on Draft Club. Might have been the best thing you've
I
ever said.
stunned him so much he got started
Yeah,
for
I
a second because he
was not
couldn't believe
I was not
the
expecting
real
that.
Death Valley is in Baton Rouge, and it ain't close.
You know who's an underrated one?
Yeah.
And when they're really good and damn good, it looks like a fun-ass environment.
What?
Florida State.
Yeah.
When
They were
come
an
out with
honorable mention
with
for
the
me.
spear on fire and with the
Yep.
horse, and they come throw
Yep.
the dagger in there, and then that dark maroon and the
100%.
gold at nighttime. That looks like an
100%.
environment that's out there.
There's one other one, too, that I want to mention, and it's the reason why I didn't put them in there is because they haven't had a lot of success recently, but one of the best environments I've ever been to is Virginia Tech for Enter Sandman. When they played Enter Sandman, I mean, I could not hear myself for the rest of the evening. Like, we left that game after the fact, and I was covering Nebraska at the time. That walkout at the time, Frank Beamer, right? The whole stadium was shaking. And Enter Sandman's an epic song to come out to. I mean, it was nuts in that. And it was Virginia Tech at night under the lights. Some of the wildest people I've ever seen in my entire life hanging off. I mean, it was just a regular game. It wasn't a conference game. It was to begin the season, and they were hanging from the damn light posts after they lost. I mean, they were just wild environment. But Virginia Tech Enter Sandman, I almost put them in there. It's been a minute since they've been pretty good.
I'm going to go to the state of Florida one more time.
Okay.
University of Florida,
Yeah.
the Swamp. That one is, and I would say that one from a
just been a minute since they intimidated anybody.
since they've been consistently
Yeah,
good.
for sure.
But when that one is rocking,
It's
that
rocking.
one is rocking too. And that one probably is closest to, let's say, the Death Valley, kind of gritty,
Yeah.
grimy, fan base
Yep.
is rugged, right? Like that one is probably the closest one, the Swamp.
And I have to give a shout out to Nebraska because Matt Rule has done everything to get the team back to what it needs to be. And last year, there's a quote from both Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter talking about the environment for Colorado last year at night under the lights. Nebraska went crazy. I mean, it was everybody that was there talked about how loud it was, the environment, and that's what they need to lean into. And Matt Rule's done an excellent job. For a long time, it's been a little too old, a little too quiet, and not enough rowdiness. We got Kodak Black, Bud Crawford, and the welterweight champions of the world, baby. And you already know it's about the Huskers, so shout out to the Skurs. I didn't forget y'all.
I like that. And we're talking about college football environments, right? Draft Club. We are bringing a college football environment on Saturdays to the Pemberton. Paige Dimakos, let the people know for our final point.
Yeah, this is a final point brought to you by the Pemberton in Phoenix, which we are going to be hosting College Football Saturdays, and that's DAZE for those of you that are like to partake in a few libations. This is sponsored by Modelo. You heard of them?
Yep.
Red Bull. You heard of them? Jose Cuervo. You heard of them? It's going to be a time. We're going to have a great time. It's down at the Pemberton. We're going to be watching football from the time they open, and they're opening early. Okay, 9 o'clock kickoffs till the 4:30 kick. We're going to have games, giveaways. We're doing a scavenger hunt. We're going to have T-shirts. Keith and I are probably being tossing T-shirts from the top level down to the people. It's going to be a great time, and that's the Pemberton in Phoenix. 2 acres. 2 acres downtown Phoenix. Amazing environment. Each bar is going to be themed for schools, so all the top games that are happening, we're going to be giving you specialty drinks. We've got things like, the Tiger's Blood that's for LSU. We're going to be serving frozen margaritas, things like that. All the specialties, hot toddies. It's going to be epic. College football Saturdays at the Pemberton. And I said DAZE, don't get it twisted. It's going to be fun, and it'll probably be twisted down at the Pemberton.
Well, there we go. And I think the closing message is make sure y'all come see us, right?
You got to come see us, baby.
Draft Club is taking over college football
If you come see us and you mention that you saw it on the pod, you will get some free piece of merchandise. I don't know what it is yet, a hat, a shirt, something. If you say you saw it on the pod, you're going to get something for free.
Well, there we go. Well, Paige Dimakos, that wraps up Draft Club. I'm Keith Sanchez. That's Paige Dimakos. This is Draft Club, players only.